Public education funding as we have known it is about to change radically.
Donald Trump will become the 47th president of the United States.
I want to close the Department of Education and move education back to the states where it belongs and where parents have total control of their children's lives.
I'm here to speak into the moment in the United States of America that will go down in history as one of the most transformative. Probably similar to a lot of you, I was feeling some things with this recent election. I was particularly focused on what that means for us as educators and those of us who are coming up to be the next generation of educators. Things are about to change. And what I want to spend some time here today doing is just chopping it up with you about here is education, schooling in America in 2024. Here is a little bit of what's been going on and how we got here, and here is exactly where we are going. So for those of you who are a little bit unfamiliar about me and my kind of credibility to talk about these matters, I have a history of studying politics and policy. I spent a tremendous amount of time in Washington, D.C., working in and out of different education spaces, those that include politics all the way from being a traditional classroom teacher. And so I come to you today with multiple hats, primarily as a concerned American who wants you to understand that some big changes that you may or may not be ready for are about to occur in our profession. So my hope with this video is to give you a better sense of some of the policies that are going to affect us and why we need to start thinking different as educators and citizens about how we move and still maintain our North Star of making sure our American youth are taken care of, okay? Our North Star is still, what can we do to be the best teachers that we can be in this moment and forever? So let's get into a little bit of the impetus for why we're here today. So I want to start off by saying that public education funding as we have known it is about to change radically. We're not talking about 2016 when Betsy DeVos was the Department of Education Secretary kind of change, and she attempted to make some pretty bold policy moves with obviously a very supportive executive branch, right, the presidency, but she didn't have what she needed to push it through, okay? One of those things that I want to bring attention to is that Betsy DeVos's top priority when she was the Department of Education Secretary, now remember, she already had a history of politics and privatizing schools, right, in Michigan. That's where she comes from. But in 2022 to 2023, more states passed or expanded school voucher laws. And I'll talk a bit about what a school voucher is in a second here. And they did that primarily through ESAs, or ESAs standing for Education Savings Accounts, okay? So she already attempted to pass this type of law, but Congress stopped her, okay, during her first term. Now, what we know right now is we are in the season of political appointees, okay? Donald Trump has already selected multiple people to be in his cabinet. And so we are in this moment of trying to predict what is to happen with education and the federal role and the way they are going to relate to states for what comes next for schools. Now, something that we need to know as an operating background is that states have the most power politically, legally, to affect the day-to-day education, bread and butter of how schools run, okay? Federal government has a very small role compared to what your state governments have. Okay, so most of the budgets are coming from state legislatures. Most of those decisions or final stopgaps are coming from how the governor of your state wants education to look. And then we have a tremendous amount of funding that comes from other places such as local schools, right? School boards. We also have property taxes, the lottery in some states, okay? And even some gambling. There are several other small pieces in different states that can contribute to an education budget, but it's important to know the federal government does not have the largest role. Now, one of the things we need to understand about a voucher system, okay? Vouchers are the ability of the public school system to divert funds to private schools. The way they do that is through oftentimes an education savings account. So let's take a hypothetical, okay? I'm a student living in Indiana and I have a specific dollar amount tied to my head. It's called per pupil, okay? So a per pupil funding scheme. So let's say hypothetically $10,000 a year is allotted to me, okay, and every other child in Indiana. And no matter where I attend school, those dollars are going to follow me and contribute to that school's budget. There are a variety of types of schools I could attend. Public school, okay, great. Then public education, that's how it's been funded, okay? Based on how many students you have sitting in that seat, the government is saying, okay, this school gets that. So say I go to Harcourt Elementary School. I am a student there. For this school year, Harcourt Elementary School is gonna get $10,000 from the Indiana government, okay? Whether that be that's gonna be a combination of local and state and federal funding, okay? Now, I wanna get into Title I a bit here too. If I am going to Harcourt Elementary School and it is in a Title I situation, okay? The government's gonna give a little bit more funding because they recognize the unique challenges of going to school in a socially, economically disadvantaged environment. And so up to this point, okay, President Joe Biden's administration has maintained Title I funding, okay, which gives extra dollars to schools that need it most. We usually measure the schools that need it most by how many economically disadvantaged children are attending those schools, okay? We hear that term, free and reduced lunch, okay? Now, what is coming up next from the Republican Party, okay? And remember, they have a supermajority, so I'm not speaking in hypotheticals or in fear. This is the reality of the plan, okay? These are attempts that have already been attempted and will now be successful because Congress, Senate, let's say the House, the Senate, the executive branch, and the judicial branch, and several governors across the country are Republican. So I just want you to remember that everything I'm saying has already begun and will continue to go forward. So we already see that we're going to see expanded voucher programs. Now, for example, as I said, let's go back to Indiana here, all right? So this voucher program is going to be one that is diverting funds from Harcourt Elementary School, and it's gonna pump that into, let's say, a Williamson, okay? Williamson is a private school. So now my parents have decided, okay, we don't want her to stay at Harcourt Elementary School. We don't really like what she's learning there. Teacher turnover is high. We wanna send her to a private school. And now, because the governor has set up a program, an educational savings account, I will now have funds from the government as a parent, okay, to control for my kid to go to a private school. That $10,000 that was originally going to Harcourt Elementary School now gets extracted from the public domain and put into a private school. Now, this is something that has been around for a while. Voucher programs have been around for decades, so this is not new. What is new is the grandiosity of that scale, okay? What we are now seeing is that we have multiple states that have large, robust voucher programs. Arizona has the largest voucher program, and we see the effects on public education now. The question is, what does that mean for you as an educator? Perhaps some of you are parents and you're already thinking about this for your children, but as an educator, what this means is that you have to get with the wave or you will get left behind, okay? I cannot say that enough. You get with the wave or you will be left behind. What we are looking at with the elimination of Title I funding and the continued push to take public money, taxpayer money, into these voucher systems or experimental charter schools, it looks like the loss of 180,300 public school teacher jobs. Okay, that is projected that is projected because it will eliminate Title I funding. So that's roughly how many Title I teachers we have in America right now who are likely to be out of a job, because these schools will inevitably close if they're not already closing. So the question is, where do those teachers go? That's exactly why I started this channel, because you need to know that this is going to affect you if you are teaching in a Title I school. This is going to affect you. And you need options. Some of you may be exploring charter schools as an option, or maybe you're exploring suburban public schools. But what I'm here to tell you today is that this type of system, this voucher system that is being expanded, is routing more dollars into private schools, including independent schools, as viable means for funding education in America. What that also means is that these independent schools are about to get richer. Their budgets are getting larger. They are already drawing from endowments. They are already drawing from tuition monies, and now they're about to draw from public monies. This is the system we are living in. So as teachers, that means that you are going to get onto this wave in the next year or two, or you're going to stand some serious competition, or you're going to be likely to leave the profession. And what we don't want is for all these tremendous teachers who have been teaching for oftentimes a very long time and poured their heart and soul into this space. We don't want to see y'all leave the profession. I'm here to tell you that it is possible to reinvent yourself as a teacher in these independent school environments, and that is something available to you because independent schools are looking for talented teachers to teach the next generation. And right now, politically, this is the wave we're heading in. I'm here to help you with that process. I can make that smoother for you as you look to apply to these schools. I will help you find where you're going to look. I will help you prepare your resume. I will help you with your demo lesson plan. I encourage you to continue looking through my other YouTube videos. Lean on those supports. Take a look at the free training that I've left for you to get you started with this process. We are in hiring season now, y'all. It is time to get the ball rolling. And even if you're not ready to commit, it is time to start taking this process seriously and start making a plan. I am happy to be here to help you because this is a moment of action in our country. And teachers have to get ready to make their moves. Let me help you. See the description below for more details about some of the facts that I've been saying. Okay, I am a teacher. I believe in supporting every fact that I give you. So look in the description for more information, articles, book references. Leave a comment if you want to talk back. I would love to have dialogue with you about this pressing issue in our country. So follow my page, hit that subscribe button, get in the free teacher training. And I look forward to continuing this conversation with you all.